So welcome to the channel, and in this new playlist we're going to be having a look at another great British classic, the Triumph TR6. In this episode on the playlist we're going to be looking at the petrol injection fuel system. Beyond the pump, the fuel is pumped up to the PI system and to the metering unit. Beyond the metering unit it goes through pipework to the injectors, where it's pushed into the car engine. Let's take a look at this system. So fuel comes up into the metering unit from the rear of the car at 110 psi. The metering unit is then attached via a mechanical rotating shaft. The fuel will then go into a barrel which rotates with the speed of the engine, and depending on that barrel the fuel is then distributed via these 6 pipes to the injectors. So one area to check on the metering unit is the small overfueling lever at the back. This is an area which, if not adjusted correctly or if not working correctly, can result in overfueling to the engine. You've got this cable coming in here, and when I pull on the choke cable you can see the lever move forward, and then when I push the choke in you can see the lever move fully backwards. Underneath the lever operates a small cam, and as the cam is operated, excess fuel is allowed to flow into the engine, ideal in a cold start situation. There is a gap needed between the lever and the cam, and the specification for that is around 0.2 millimeters. So if you are experiencing any overfueling issues, or if this lever is not fully returning when the choke cable is pushed back, then that could be the cause of your overfueling situation. Generally there's very little that can go wrong with a metering unit. Once it's set to the engine, then in principle it's a fit and forget unit. You shouldn't need to modify or adjust it in any way. There are springs within this top cap mechanism, which there are tutorials on YouTube as to have a look at and have a go. But my suggestion would be, if you believe you've got metering unit issues, you've eliminated every other cause with regards to the engine, then that might be the time to get your metering unit refurbished. If it's a tuned engine, then you would have to get it set by a specialist to match your particular engine setup. The only fault finding that you can generally do with a metering unit is to check that the diaphragm unit within here is not split or broken, as that can be replaced if so. And to do that we often have what we refer to as the suck test, where this pipe, which comes off the manifold and provides the vacuum to the metering unit, if you remove that and suck, it should be able to hold pressure and pull on your tongue. If it doesn't, then that could be an indication that the diaphragm within the metering unit is split. So a quick demonstration of the TR6 metering valve diaphragm suck test. Yep, it holds vacuum. The 6 pipes that come from the metering unit over to the injectors are nylon. You can get stainless steel braided hoses. Remember, the goal in the engine bay is to keep the temperature as low as possible. So one principle, I've decided not to fit those because of the heat that those particular stainless steel braided hoses would hold. So I've kept these as nylon. That gets us to the last part of the fuel system, which of course is the fuel injector. There are 6 of those that go into the throttle bodies on the engine. These units can be removed, replaced and refurbished, and are held in place just by this 1/2-inch nut here. So if we unscrew that, we should be able to take the injector out and have a look. The injector unit itself is quite simple. We have here the inlet. Inside there is a spring mechanism which will open at a set pressure. Typically it's around 50 psi. So as the metering unit is distributing fuel at 110 psi, you'll feel a pulsing in the nylon pipe, and as that pulse exceeds the open pressure of the injector, this end piece will open and provide a circular spray which goes through the manifold into the engine. This nut here on the injector can be removed, and you can look down and see what should be a gauze inside. That can be banged out and cleaned, but once the injector gets so contaminated, the best thing you can do is get it exchanged for a refurbished unit. The most common failure mode with the injectors is either an airlock in the nylon feed pipe, or maybe some contamination within the injector itself. This results in it needing to be bleeded. This is best done while the engine is running so that the fuel is spraying. Each injector can be taken out in turn, and with a pair of long nose pliers while it's running, you can grip the top of the injector, lift the injector so fuel blobs out of the end of the injector, and then at a point where you're getting fuel, you can snap the end of the injector shut and then point the injector into a glass jar or a rag, and what you should be able to see is a conical shape of fuel being sprayed. If you repeat this process over all 6 injectors, you can ensure that the injectors are successfully bled so that you won't get any misfiring, which is a common symptom at higher revs. So what we're going to do here is demonstrate how to bleed one of the injectors. We'll do the one we've just taken out, number 1 cylinder. The usual precautions are advised at this point in time. So at the end of the day, we do have exposed sprayed fuel. So make sure you've got a fire extinguisher to hand, a bucket of water, and you're certainly in a well ventilated area. So first thing to do is to open the idle to get higher revs. At the end of the day, you're looking for a spray. You want a bit more than tick over, so open the idle screw as much as possible. What you'll find is the revs will go up, but that's fine. You can adjust that back down afterwards. So now we've opened the throttle, we've got slightly higher revs. Next thing to do is take the injector out, hold it up, open the end nipple till fuel is coming out, and then snap it shut. If I hold it onto the top there, you can see now that we have a nice spray pattern coming onto the top. So we simply drop the injector back into the manifold. Now we can repeat the process for all 6, and that will be the injectors bled. With all 6 injectors bled, last thing remains is to close the idle screw down to get the idle back to 700 RPM. One of the challenges that TR6 owners find is keeping the engine bay cool to avoid evaporation of fuel in the lines as they come across to the injectors. That evaporation of fuel can cause airlock, it can cause misfire at higher revs, or indeed stop the engine working at all. So one of the countermeasures for that is to make sure that the fuel pump mechanism is working correctly and you're getting a reliable 110 psi of fuel to the front. In another episode on the playlist, we've had a look at that. At the front of the engine, 2 things you can do: improve the cooling. Many people add an aftermarket fan to the radiator and set a low temperature so that comes on. So when stuck in traffic or driving in high temperatures, we're able to keep the engine bay nice and cool. Also, consider changing the thermostat. Here we have the water thermostat in the car. There are 3 available: 74 degrees, 82 degrees and 88 degrees. Designed to be changed for different climates. So for example, winter, you might want a higher temperature so that you get higher temperatures from the air blower into the cabin. But For general driving, what I do is set this car at the 74 degree, the lower temperature, because the benefits to keeping the engine running cool to a reliable fuel system are well worth having. So hopefully that's given you an insight into the petrol injection system. What we're going to have a look now in the next episode is the throttle bodies themselves and how they contribute to the petrol injection running. Once again, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please do subscribe. Please do like the video. Please do comment. Love reading the comments and replying and getting involved with you all. Until next time.